everybody. Welcome back to the Bullhucker podcast. I'm Moose Lundstrom.
And I am Dancia Kudron.
Well, stranger Dancia Kudron. What's going on, sister?
Hello, old friend.
You haven't been on the podcast in like 17 episodes. It's been a while.
Well, thanks for reminding me.
Well,
I thought maybe you forgot my phone number.
I call you all the time, but you're busy. You're super fucking busy all the time. Because the last time you were on, we got a little too hammered on this thing, and I had to edit the shit out of it, you know? Well,
it was my dream come true.
Yeah.
Well, I hope the whiskey is not going to be an issue, though.
Oh, it will be. I can't handle that.
A great issue. And real quick, we are back in Bullhucker Studio.
It's beautiful.
Yes.
It's beautiful.
Thank you. It's the first time here. I'm excited to have you here. We also have a guest today.
Yes, we do.
A very special guest. Yes.
Who's the guest?
This some bitch I know. Randolph Torres, how are you?
I'm very good.
I wanted to say one thing. Behind me is a mural on the wall, and that is actually Randolph's handiwork. He actually came in one day, and I'm going to snitch you out a little bit because this makes me laugh. I came down here, and the paint fumes were pretty heavy. And I'm like, I think this dude's high. Cause you're like,
100%.
I love it. And I'm
I
like,
love it.
I'm going to get a pizza. I'm like, hey, this fucking guy's high.
Oh, my God. Yeah, it's true. I should wear a respirator when I paint, but I usually don't.
What's the fun in that?
If anybody asks, out there in the professional world, if my parents ask, I always wear a respirator.
Yeah.
I'm very safe around chemicals, but really, no, I'm not.
Yeah. Why would you be? That's lame.
You're a whole lot cooler when you don't.
Dude, it smells good. I mean, that high-quality artist spray paint has like a sugary smell to it. It doesn't smell like Krylon. It's not like you're huffing paint out of a paper bag. It's like you're in a candy shop.
Right.
And do you also like the smell of gasoline?
I do.
I do too.
Yeah, no, it's a guilty pleasure. It's a guilty pleasure.
Weird. Markers, like all that weird shit.
Swear to
God.
Alcohol markers, man.
Yeah.
It's a thing.
I preach to the choir here, but I mean, I have an addictive personality and some stories.
Yeah.
So.
It's an easy get
Did
off,
we just
man.
become best friends?
You want to do some karate in the garage?
I get top bunk.
Yes, exactly.
Randolph, you might actually recognize also from HGTV. He's actually the artist who has done all of the murals for the Hometown Makeover.
All of them.
Not all. So I did
Just
six projects.
Just the good
Just
ones.
the good ones.
Yeah.
I did 6 projects for HGTV. The other 2 murals in town, there's one inside the ice cream shop that was done by a local woman, and then there's one across from mine at the end of Main Street on Railroad, which is the Culture Grows Here with the 4-H quilt, which was done by Rob Hill. Shout out to Rob Hill. He's a phenomenal artist from Denver, big abstract guy. But other than that, I did the vast majority of the projects for the show.
That's amazing.
Yeah, which was something I never figured I would do coming to Fort Morgan. I was a mural artist in California for a long time, owned my own business, doing just murals. That was my only job. And, moved out here to Fort Morgan just to tattoo, to make a life out here. And
You came out here to tattoo?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I work at Americana now. But yeah, coming out here, I kind of left the mural business behind in California. It wasn't really something that I figured would be booming out here, right, in rural Colorado.
Wow.
And got out here July 1st of last year. And after living here for a week, I had my company van, which had all my branding and things like that on it. Got an Instagram message from HGTV saying, hey, we're interested in having you work on some murals for us. And I was like, dude, bullshit,
Who's
right?
punking me?
Yeah, I was like, this is a fucking spam, right?
Yeah.
It's an absolute scam. I was
Right.
like, no way in hell HGTV is hitting me up for artwork, right? Artists always are insecure, so it's like, no way that I'm going to be the guy on HGTV.
Right.
So immediately reached back out, and I was like, yeah, like, whatever. If this is real, like, let's set up a meeting. And the lady that messaged me, she was like, yeah, let's go to lunch right now. We'll go to Acapulco Bay here in Fort Morgan. And I was like, yeah, okay, sure. So met up with her, had some margaritas, had some tacos, and she, approached all the projects, kind of what they were looking for, and was kind of just going down the list of like what they needed. And I was just saying like yes to every project. I was like, yeah, I can do that. I can do that. I can do that.
Right.
And she
Yeah,
was like,
what can't I do?
She was like, well, we only have 4 months. Like, are you sure you can actually do 6 projects and get them done like on our timeline? I was like, dude, fuck yeah, I'm a rock star.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Right. And that was kind of how it happened. And ended up knocking out all the projects. Had a really fun time doing it, and it's still kind of surreal.
So did they tell you what they wanted, or did you kind of create it?
It was a blend of both. So, no ill will towards HGTV, but the nature of Hollywood is we want you to have creative freedom, but we still have control, right?
Yeah, of course.
So there was a lot of the projects where they were like, hey, like, give us your idea. Like, we want you to be the man behind the vision, right? I'd give them an idea and they would be like, well, we don't really like that. So how about you just do this? And I'd be like, okay, so you don't want my vision. You want what you want with my style.
Right.
And
Yeah.
they were like, yeah, pretty much. And I was like, well, we could have started with that. But,
You know what, though? That's shame on them.
well, it's fine.
When you painted this one, and I told you, whatever you think. I just want to say Bullhucker podcast or Bullhucker, whatever. And he showed me the original one on his iPad. And at first I hated the colors. I'm like, I don't know if I like that at all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I told him. But once he got on the wall, it really pops.
Yeah.
I really love it now. You
Artists see things the way we don't.
Yeah,
They really do.
Exactly
It's
right.
true, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that was the hardest thing of working with the show is like, one of the biggest, I think, hurdles that I dealt with dealing with them is that there's no, like when you're working with television, there's no definite boss, right?
Right.
So you have the network, you have the producers, you have the creative directors, you have, you know, the whatever kind of like core team they have, you have the director, like there's so many people involved. And as a single artist with your vision, you're trying to get all these different groups of people that have different interests and different goals in mind to approve this one piece of art. So I think that was the hardest thing where it was like I would draw something and it would go up the chain of command. A couple different groups would approve it. It would get to the top and they'd be like, nah, we don't like it. And they'd send it back down. And so you redraw it and you send it back up the line and it makes it up through a couple channels. And then somebody eventually is like, nah, we don't like it. And so you're constantly playing that game of like pleasing everyone, you know, whereas working for an individual client, like working for you,
Yeah.
Right.
it's a lot easier because it's like I draw it, only one person has to sign off and be like, yeah, this is all right, let's do
Right.
it. So
Fair.
that was a pretty rough deal working with them, but yeah,
It worked out well,
it
though.
panned
I mean,
out. It panned
Yeah.
out phenomenally.
And I'm glad I ran into you, and it's by just happenstance we run into each other. This wall behind us actually is the comedy wall that we did all our stand-up
Is
comedy.
it
Yeah.
from there?
So when Adam hauled it down here, it was actually Voki's idea. I'll give him that. He says, you should tag that wall. You should have someone come and like tag the damn thing. I go, that's a great idea, Adam.
Love it.
But I couldn't find anybody to do it. So I was going to go to the police and be like, you know any kids that tag? You know what I mean?
Who's the guy hitting the train? Yeah.
You're so ghetto.
I mean,
love it.
where do you find it? So
Love
somebody
it.
says, go talk to Jesse Vaughn, the owner of Americana. I think he does that stuff. I walk in. He's very busy. He's just like,
Yeah.
I don't have time. And you're like, you know, I can do it. And I was like,
Yeah.
well,
Okay. I was wondering what the connection
Yes.
was, how you two.
we got to
Yeah.
bullshitting. And then I'm like, I have a podcast. And at first he's like, good for you. You know?
Yeah. Oh, good job. So
so-
does a million other people.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
What's your shitty premise?
How special.
Yeah.
And so he came down. We started talking. Yeah, man,
Yeah.
I'm so super happy with what you've done here, though. So.
Yeah, man, thank you. I had a blast doing it.
And I'll
So
tell you what, there's another piece in here. Behind you, it's a Fort Morgan Mustang picture, and the only reason that hangs in this podcast studio is the person to my left here. That's the only reason.
Oh, yeah?
Because I know if she'd came in and there's a brush beat digger one and not a Mustang.
Yeah.
I'd have never heard the end of it.
Yeah.
you an
Yeah.
educator?
I am. I work at the high school. I work in the
Nice.
counseling office. And honestly, I mean, we all kind of know the Mustangs are better. But sometimes Larry's like, bee diggers. So
What the hell is a bee
yeah,
digger?
exactly.
It's
exactly.
a piece of hardworking farm equipment. Thank you very much.
okay.
It's
Oh,
weird, Larry. It's a weird
I can tell you exactly what it is. It's the one that won the football game last year.
Oh, okay. So what is their mascot wear? Like what's the outfit?
It's
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's what?
Yeah,
mean,
tell
it's
the
like- it's just-
audience.
it's
We
the-
all
it's
want
the
to know.
logo.
Because I
It's
can dress
logo.
up like a horse, right? I
Yeah.
can dress up like a cougar. I can
Yeah.
dress up like
Let's
all
go
these
a different
things.
angle with this. There's one beat digger. There's like every other school's a fucking Mustang. Okay, every other one. Oh, just like the
I think
podcast.
there's only one beat digger for
How
a reason.
original! How original! Actually, there's two beat diggers.
Is
So,
there really?
Yeah, some other assholes in Utah.
nice.
But there's only one true beat digger.
That's right.
Utah, that's about right. Utah. It would be in Utah.
But I mean, beats, like it couldn't be gold diggers. It couldn't be anything like
Right.
exciting, right?
Yeah.
Like diamond diggers.
There's
it was
gold
beats.
diggers already in the
Yeah.
mountain. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Gold diggers, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
I mean, and they could have
yeah.
went a different route. I mean, there's the Denver Nuggets, right? Like it could have just been.
which is the
yeah.
worst mascot of all time.
I mean, that's fair.
I mean, it's fair. But before we get started, get going any further, I do
Yes.
want to say, welcome to the Bullhucker podcast. If you're new to the podcast, what we do is we bring on a guest. Today is Randolph Torres. What he's going to do is tell us 3 stories about his life. Now, here's the kicker. Only 2 of these stories are true. One's either made up, partially true, or a borrowed story. Now, Randolph, without going into great detail, what is it? Is it a borrowed story? Did you completely make it up, or is it half true, half lie?
It is half true.
Half
It
true,
is
half
true.
lie.
So there is some truth to the story, but
Okay.
there's a little bit of embellishment
Okay, and
That's
to make
gonna
it
be
more
hard.
exciting.
when you were down here talking about a painting, you were telling me you had some pretty wild stories. You were like, "What's the ceiling?" And I was like, "There's not
Well,
one on the bottom." Yeah.
Yeah, so I do have some pretty wild stories. I've got some some pretty heavy psychedelic induced stories.
Right.
Love it.
Yeah, I've got some of those days. I've got some.
Are we going to hear about that?
No, I left those out because I didn't want to be painted as a complete hippie burnout. I'm already an artist, right? I'm already an artist who started as a graffiti artist and somehow found a way to become a professional and make a life out of art. So I'm like, I'm already branded as the guy that does tattoos, has face tattoos, does graffiti. Yeah. I don't need to be the guy that's running through a fucking list of drug stories, you know?
But they're fun.
They are fun. Really, they are fun. Yeah. And, you know, maybe if I come back next time, we can do like an entirely like drug-induced episode, and I'll run you through all those stories.
Those were your California days.
Exactly. Those are fun. Most of these, though, are going to be like nature-based, like adventure stories, things about me out in the wild, just getting fucked up by nature. So, yeah.
And by the way, don't ever let me judge that, because the fact that you make a living doing what you love is amazing.
It's great. I mean, it's the greatest job in the world.
That.
It's
because
the greatest job
everybody wants to do that. That's cool.
And it's true. I mean, I think everybody should, at least at some point in their life, have the opportunity to make, even if it's just $1, doing something they love, because that is the most rewarding thing. Right. You know, I tell people that all the time when I have my days, right? Everybody has their bad days at work, and I've got my days where I get home and I sit on the couch and I bitch on the internet about, oh, I had such a hard day, and then I think about it from like a perspective standpoint. It's like, wow, I sit on my ass and draw pictures all day, so how bad really is it? You know, it's like I'm bitching to some guy online about how hard my day was, and he's like, dude, I work in a fucking coal mine. Like, fuck you, right? Like, you sit and draw pictures on people all day. Like,
if it was the '90s, I can't reference now because I don't know what's hot for tattoos, but like in the '90s, I go home and
tribal.
If I have to tattoo Marvin the Martian on one more son of a bitch.
No, I think nowadays, just because of the younger generation and the existence of TikTok and fucking Pinterest, it's a lot of fine line tattoos, fine line botanical tattoos, fine line infinity signs, fine line butterflies. No shading, no color, no black work, just single line.
So how's that for you? Like, what do you think?
I fucking hate it.
You do? Really? I think it'd be easier.
It is easy, and I think that's why it's so annoying. Is because it is easy. Like there's no challenge to it, right? Like I love doing custom pieces, right? And there is definitely a place for flash work in the tattoo world where, you know, somebody comes in, they find something in the book or on the wall, they pick it off the wall and they're like, I want that, exactly that. I don't care if 1,000 people have it. It's what I want. And that's fine. And it's the same thing with people bringing in things off the internet. If they find something they want and they like it and they don't care if somebody else has it, like, I'll do it. It's fine. It's cheap. It's fast. You're happy. I'm happy. But I think at the end of the day, I really like the challenge of somebody that walks in with like a custom idea where they're like, I'm not an artist, but I have 40 ideas that I want you to cram into one fucking piece and put it on my leg. And it's like, that's fun for me. Because then I have to whittle it down and be like, you know, what's the priority of this piece? What's the emotion going into it? What's the feeling behind it? What's the story? Like, why? You know, why do you want this piece?
That's cool. So you probably hear a lot of that.
Yeah. Well, I think with any kind of artistic career that deals with customer service stuff, whether it's tattooing, cosmetics, hairstylists, things like that, we're like an artist full-time and part-time therapist. So we have a lot of that. I mean, we hear stories about, especially with return clients, you know, they come in and it's like, hey, how's little Jimmy doing? You know, how's his fucking football career going? Oh, he got a scholarship. How fucking cool. Like, you know, and so we keep up with those stories. And it is a chance for people to vent, especially because with tattooing in particular, they're going through
pain.
Yeah, an inordinate amount of pain. Their body's dumping endorphins, adrenaline, things like that. And so they're in like an altered state almost where they're a little bit more free with their emotions.
Interesting.
And so, you hear a lot of stuff, which is really
But also,
fun.
like, don't you think, like, people get tattoos, like, in remembrance of somebody?
Oh, yeah.
So probably then that story's come up and you hear all those stories.
I've had several.
Yeah.
And I mean, without naming any names, I actually recently in the last couple months, I had a really interesting one. It was my first experience having somebody that I've tattooed die. And so I had an individual who I tattooed, which was a really beautiful experience, tattooing him. Very lovely man, really energetic, fun to talk to. Tattooed him with this piece that he had really been wanting. And about a week later found out that he had killed himself.
Oh, my gosh.
And so his cousin came to me with the news and was like, hey, he had a really good time being tattooed by you. You're not my normal tattoo artist, but I think it'd be really cool for me to get a memorial tattoo for him from you because you were the one that last tattooed him. And so that was a really special thing. And, and so we do get those experiences.
I don't know if this is what if you would know this or not. Was that tattoo kind of like his not bucket list, but like I'm going to do something I enjoy before I go kind of
I
thing.
mean, maybe,
Yeah.
you know, and it could have been, and I had that conversation with his cousin where it was like, hey, maybe that was just what he needed. Maybe that was the therapy he needed, his release. And like I said, it was a really special tattoo for me because not only was it something that I really enjoyed tattooing, like the subject matter was really fun, but the very next day after I had tattooed him, he actually called me on the phone. And I was like, this is weird. Like, why is he calling me? I was like, fuck, maybe the tattoo's infected. Maybe something's going wrong. He's got some questions, like it's red, whatever. And he was like, no, man, I just want to thank you. And he was like, I had a really good time talking to you.
That's
it was a
cool.
really special time for me. I really enjoyed the process of the tattoo, and I just wanted to thank you. And I was like, dude, that's the first time ever in my whole career of tattooing, hell, even doing art, that somebody's reached out to me the next day for no reason other than, you know, to just be like, wow, thank you so much for the experience.
Wow.
That's very
And
cool.
so, yeah, maybe that was all he needed.
That. Yeah.
You know, you never know.
You never know.
Yeah.
Like what you gave in that last moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Very awesome. Well, Randolph, you ready to tell some stories?
Let's do it.
All right, Dempsey,
do it.
you want to read them off, sister?
Hang on.
do.
Let's, should we do a shot first?
Yeah, why don't you fill these up while
Okay.
Dempsey's reading those off? How about that?
Okay, so is this 50K?
That is
or
50K.
SLK? Okay, 50K.
Help-
50K.
Help me out here, lady.
Oh,
Help me
sorry,
out here, lady.
sorry, friend. 50K. Mr. Freeze. These are good. And Bare Necessities. These are great titles. I'm here for it.
I'm here for it.
50K,
Hell yeah.
Mr. Freeze, Bare Necessities.
There you guys
Pass
go.
that along. We're drinking bourbon, you said?
Yeah, it is bourbon.
Any particular kind?
I don't remember the name. If they're not sponsoring the podcast, then who the fuck really cares?
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
Salud. Thank you for coming on.
So funny story. I normally don't drink these type of things. We are just shooting it like that.
You don't have to.
you can sip it. It is a sipping whiskey. It
Okay.
It is a really
I
nice
was just
whiskey.
gonna say because one time like
I'm just
my
shooting it 'cause Larry shot
son
it.
drinks this.
He can't be bigger than me.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, it's like a beer. And he's like, Mom. So
It's absinthe.
It's all the Green Fairy, baby.
That's right.
Let
That's
it ride.
That's right. Okay. Dempsey, why don't you go and pick one out?
ooh, okay.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. I think honestly, Bare Necessities. That's a great name. I'm just gonna go for
You're
it.
gonna go with
All
Bare
right.
Necessities?
Yeah.
So let's hear it.
Okay. So, yeah, wow. Story time, man. I haven't had story time in a long time. Wow.
Loosen up. You
Yeah,
got
I gotta
this.
loosen up. Okay, so Bare Necessities. This takes place, most of these stories are gonna take place in California. It's obviously where I moved from before I lived in Colorado. To set the scene, one of my best friends in California, whose name I won't name because I don't know if he'd be down with it because we get into some risky shit.
Let's call him Carl.
Let's call him Carl.
Oh, I was gonna say
Carl's
John.
a fun guy.
John. Let's call him
John's,
John.
No, John's basic. John's
Carl,
too
California.
basic. Carl, California. There
Here
we go.
for it.
California Carl.
California Carl.
So, anyways, Carl and I, we were, longtime adventure buddies. We go on a lot of backpacking trips together, go out shooting in the woods, playing around, whatever. So, we also were volunteer wilderness rangers together. We got certified with the Los Padres National Forest as wilderness rangers.
Wow.
So this story takes place in the Los Padres National Forest in California, just south of Solvang area. So we were hiking out to one of our favorite camping spots, which is the Manzana Narrows. And so Naira Campground is the furthest campground you can drive to in this particular region of the Los Padres. And we were planning a 3-day backpacking trip to go out to the Manzana Narrows, camp, fish in the little creek there, just have a good time. And so we parked the vehicle, loaded our bags, started our hike, and it's a pretty long hike. It's about 8 miles with little to no shade cover, so it's a little barren out there. It's technically the high desert of California. And yeah, we started our trek. Everything was good. We usually start early in the morning, so we beat the heat of the day and made it about 5 miles out. So we're just about 3-4 miles shy of the Manzana Narrows. And as we're walking down this trail, I hear this loud crashing sound. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck was that? And so we keep walking, and I hear it again. It's like a tree is absolutely shattering under the weight of its own canopy. And I hear it again, and I'm like, dude, what the fuck is going on? And so we're like looking around and don't see anything. And so we keep walking. We hear it again. And it's just boom, boom, boom. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck? And so keep walking. And we hear it one final time. And this time it sounds like, it's right next to us. Mm-hmm. And so I look over in the creek bed and I see this the canopy of the tree up above the rest of the trees. And it's just swaying back and forth. Like it's in a violent windstorm, right? And it's the only one shaking. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck is going on? And then all of a sudden, loud crash and bang, tree falls. And I'm like, what the fuck could do something like that? Like, there's no wind out here. What is happening?
Right. And it's just the one tree.
It's just the one tree.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not like the whole forest is shaking.
Aliens.
Right. That's what I thought, right? The Greys are here. The Greys are here. They're going to take my mind. They're going to probe my ass, and that's it.
Yeah.
I'm
okay.
done.
Lucky.
Yeah, and so this tree comes absolutely crashing down. And so me and Carl are standing there, I mean, just like frozen. We're like, what the fuck, right? And so all of a sudden, as we're standing there in awe of like what had just happened, this black bear comes across the trail. And, you know, black bear, not as intimidating as a grizzly, but it's still a bear, right? It's
still kill you.
It's a medium-sized bear.
Yeah.
And so this bear comes across, and like, you know, in your mind, your Boy Scout training, right, is running through your mind, and you're like, what do? Do I freeze? Do I play dead? Do I act bigger than him? Like, there's
different rules for black and brown, right?
I don't know. There's conflicting information all over the place. Some people are like, you just play dead like a possum. Other people are like, you got to get big and you got to yell at them, right? And it's like, I don't know what to do. I'm frozen in fear at this moment, right?
He's kind of like, he plays dead, but plays big dead.
Yeah.
Like he's been bloated for a while.
And so at this moment, right, it's like I'm frozen in fear because it's like no matter how much training or fucking books you read on the subject of what to do when you're confronted with a bear, it doesn't, you know, prepare you for the fact that you might actually be confronted with a bear.
How far is he from you?
I would say 75 feet. I mean, relatively close, right? Like less than a football field.
Yeah.
Right? You know, enough to make out like his facial, you know, features. So anyways, this bear comes walking out of the creek, you know, just lackadaisically, stops in the trail, looks at us. And I'm like, oh, shit, right? Still frozen, like not quite sure what to do.
Hello.
Yeah, and I'm like, and so at this point, I'm like, dude, Carl, like, I think we should just start backing up. But, like, keep our eyes on him, right? Like, don't turn around and run. That's a bad thing, right? So we start slowly backing up. And Bear's like, huh, interesting.
Yeah.
Starts walking towards us. So now we're on, like, the backwards approach. Bear's approaching us. And I'm like, shit, now what do we do, right? Like, my only goal was to, like, create some distance. He's closing the distance. Fuck.
Yeah.
So now I'm back to square one of being frozen of, like, do I play dead or do I act bigger, right? Where do I go from here?
Because moonwalking didn't work.
the good old MJ didn't work.
Yeah.
I should have pulled out one of my gloves and give him a little. Yeah, that's right. So we're in this stalemate now. You know, this Mexican standoff of me backing up, the bear coming up, and so I look at Carl and I'm like, dude, what do we do? Like, I'm not running. Like, I mean, we're backpacking too, so it's like, you know, we're carrying 45, 50-pound packs. Like, we're not in
I'm not going to be a fast run.
We're not in quite running shape, right? We're out here in the high desert. You know, the bear's used to this terrain. Like, I'm fucked. You know, he's going to get my ass if I try to run. And so we have this dilemma of, like, what the hell are we going to do? And so I'm like, all right, dude, I think we just got to try to scare him away, right? Like, get some sticks, fucking throw some rocks, yell at him. So, anyways, Bear's making the approach. We've got our game plan now. And so we're looking, like, as we're backing up along the trail, like, what are we going to pick up and scare this fucker away with? And so I'm trying to, like, as I'm backing up and, like, keeping eyes on the bear, grabbing whatever I can, and I'm hucking rocks at him, and I'm like, hey, bear, like, get the fuck out of here, right? You know? Yeah, just trying to be as tough as I possibly can.
I know karate.
Yeah, exactly. And, like, the bear doesn't give a shit, right? He's like a dog when you're, like, throwing a toy at him, but he's fixated on the treat, right? He's like, there's a rock, but I'm still focused on you. I'm going to fuck you up, right? And I'm like, shit. And so, like, we're trying everything we can. And at this point, we're like, fuck, maybe we just need to stand our ground. Like, because he's approaching because we're backing up.
Right.
And so we're like, all right, like, let's get our sticks and we're going to fucking, you know, we're going to stand our ground.
Yeah, of course.
Not a good idea. So we start standing our ground and we're yelling at this bear. Bear's fucking into it, dude. He's fucking eyeballing us. He starts moving even closer. It's like, shit, this isn't working.
Is he growling at all, or
no? There's no vocal sound. No, it's just like it's like that primal, like, that hunting instinct, right? Like when you watch a cat hunt a bird and they get in that low stance and, like, there's nothing that can take them out of it.
Like
They're just
that.
locked in, right?
Yeah.
You know, and so we're yelling, we're doing our stuff. Bear's not having it. He don't care. So now he's getting even closer Now he's getting a little agitated because we're fucking egging him on.
Right.
And I'm like, dude, we're getting to the point where like maybe playing dead's the only option. Might get a couple claws. Like it's a 5-mile hike out, an hour drive back to civilization from the camp. Like
Chicks take scars, man. Chicks take scars.
fucked,
Yeah,
man.
Yeah, you're
you
fine.
should have
No.
each picked a thing. Like, you do this, I'll do that, and we'll see who
We'll
gets
see who
attacked.
survives.
Yeah, that's right. Tell Carl, play dead, Carl, when he lays down.
And I'll run.
Run.
So anyways, man, we're doing our best to defend ourselves, and this bear makes a fucking charge, and it was one of the most terrifying moments of my life. I mean, my throat fucking dropped into the pit of my stomach. This bear makes this epic advance where it's like, you ever seen like a cougar when it like goes to attack you? There's like the arms come up, the chest is up, and like it makes that swatting motion. It was like that. I mean, this bear, at this point had to be 15 feet away, and it was doing like a sign of aggression, right, or a sign of dominance. And so it makes this big leaping maneuver and hits its paws on the ground and is still just looking at us. And at this point, I dropped the sticks and I was like, dude, we're gonna fucking die. This is where we die.
This is it.
I'm
Yeah.
over.
Yeah.
This is
Cool
game
way
over.
to die.
Yeah. No. At
But-
this point, I was like, I'm not gonna play dead. I'm not gonna lay down in the fetal position and let this thing just start like chewing on my leg and see if it wants to
Yeah.
eat me. Like, no, I'm gonna stand here and I'm gonna fucking take it.
Did you say cool way to die?
It is a cool way
It's
to
a cool-
die. To
I
be
mean,
attacked by killed by a bear.
I could think of a worse way. You know?
Yeah.
Your family comes to your funeral and they wonder why. What's the pile of shit? Oh, it's bear shit. That's
Yeah, and that's
Randolph
fair.
and Carl.
Yeah. I
We had a
mean,
little bit of a beach. But
It beats
yeah.
the hell out of ODing in a bathtub.
That's true.
Exactly.
That's
A
true.
bear attack?
Yeah.
Get it.
So anyways, this thing makes this epic leap towards us, and I'm like, at this point, I've like essentially shit my pants, right?
Yeah.
I'm done. I mean, all the colors flushed from my face. I'm sweating bullets. I'm looking at Carl out of the corner of my eye. I'm like, it's nice knowing you, man. Like, it's been really fun out here.
Yeah. Peace out, G.
So anyways, yeah, he makes this big leap at us, and I freeze, and he just stops, and he's like looking at us, and he's like, all right. Like, you guys passed the vibe check.
Huh.
And then he kind of like makes that move where he's like turning away from us, but the eyes are still on us. And then he just fucking walks away.
No.
Out into the scrub brush. So we got the California sage out there, all the fucking oak trees. Yeah, he did that one big show of like, I'm the fucking boss. Looks at us and he was like, all right, you guys stood your ground. And then bounces out.
No.
Fucking A. And I looked at Carl and I was like, dude, I don't even know if I want to finish this hike. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't even know what to do.
Did you
and
have
so
to tell Carl to quit crying?
Carl didn't cry. He did really good. He did
Did
really
Carl
good.
have to tell you to quit crying?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I was the one
Let's
crying.
go clean our
Yeah.
britches
Yeah.
and wipe away the
And
tears.
so we had contemplated. I was like, man, this is, and we knew bears were out there, right? Like, I mean, we'd been hiking out there so many times. It's our regular stomping grounds, and so you see bears scat all over the trail all the time. I mean, there's the California wild berries in the recognizable pile of shit all over the trail out there. So it's like, yeah, we knew there were bears. Never run into one. It's the one and only time. And I was like, fuck, man. I was like, I don't know if I can keep going. And he was like, he's like, the bear's gone. Like, let's just go. Let's go camp. And so we,
Camp?
and so we finished our hike. We had another 3-4 miles. We went to the Manzana Narrows. We had a 3-day camping trip. Never saw the bear again. I've never seen another bear again. It was the one and only time, but
Wow.
that was enough. I'm done with bears.
I've always wanted to see a bear. I think it's cool.
Not like that.
Well, right. Yeah. I mean, but other than in the zoo, like, I don't know. I think it's kind of cool. Wouldn't you like to see a bear?
I have seen a bear, but
You-
yeah. Well, see, a Boy Scout camp back in the day before I was kicked out. But they at Laramie Peak
Is
in
this
Wyoming.
before X-Lax?
Yes, yes. They used to tell us run downhill because the bear's upper body is so much smaller than his lower body. You run up
Oh.
a hill, the bear's back
Bear's
legs
gonna
are
catch you.
yeah, because
Yeah.
he's all
You never
leg.
climb
yeah.
a tree.
Yeah. So yeah, totally. But yeah, we saw one time. It was crazy, man.
Black bear?
Yeah, I think so. No, well,
Yeah, because, black and brown isn't that big. Black and brown are both very similar in size. It's the grizzlies that are going to be the only ones that are
Right.
hyper aggressive and super big.
yeah. So
Black bears, they say, are a lot like dogs. Like, it was odd to see one that was very aggressive. They're usually pretty docile.
Right.
They don't fuck with humans.
Really?
Yeah, no, they don't want that. There's no interest in us.
Interesting.
We're not a part of their natural prey, and predominantly, bears are actually more on the vegetarian side of the omnivore spectrum.
Really?
Yeah, the majority of their diet consists of berries and the various vegetation. Meat is usually only hunted when it's like readily accessible, like something that's already weak or dead.
And like, would they attack if they weren't hungry?
I'm
That
sure they
type
would. I mean,
deal.
it's just like
Yeah.
coyotes and stuff. Yeah.
what do you think about that,
Wow.
Dents?
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel true. I feel true.
Yeah, we'll see.
Because I feel like if it wasn't, the bear would have like done something. Like Carl maybe would be dead or one less
Carl
leg.
is dead.
Oh.
Motorcycle accident.
Oh.
I'm
Sorry,
kidding.
Carl. Oh, okay. I was like,
I was going to say, because he didn't want to say his
Yeah,
real name, so I was
exactly.
thinking, so what's that
yeah,
about? So
yeah. That was quick. Good job.
yeah.
Okay, you're a bullshitter.
I am a bullshitter.
Yeah, I love that for you. I love it. Yeah.
I got to tell you, if it is true, this happens on this podcast so many times, you don't realize how many times you almost died in life.
Yeah.
I mean,
dude, it's a lot.
I mean, that's the one you know about.
I've burned through my 9 lives. Dude.
Yeah.
Meow.
I'm serious, man.
Yeah.
I've had some fucking close ones.
But I'm saying everybody has. I mean, you know how many times you probably almost died. You're lucky to be here.
Yeah.
Every human
Dude,
being is
100%.
lucky to be on this rock still. So
Yeah, 100%.
that was a great story, Randolph. But Randolph, I usually need to.
Go ahead and check it off.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm here for it.
All
Are
right.
you picking the second one?
I am picking the second one.
Okay, have fun.
Which one?
There's always one that I want to hear most, so I always pick it last, of course.
Okay.
So instead, let's hear 50,000, 50K.
You want to hear 50K?
50K.
All right. 50K is a fun one.
Mr. Freeze
So-
was your one that you're waiting for?
Yeah.
It's going to be the big one.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be the big one. That's another Carl story.
Oh, good old Carl.
Carl.
Good old Carl, man. Carl's everywhere. He's a fucking, he's a staple in my life.
You don't think Carl would like these stories being told about him?
I don't know.
Okay.
I really don't know.
All right.
I don't know. I mean, if he reaches out to me later, then I'll just do like
Let's
an amended. I'll do an amended statement online, like when
Yes.
like journalists redact their story
Yeah,
and
yeah,
they're
yeah.
like, "Hey, this was total bullshit that we told. Like, we totally defamed this character."
Yeah.
And he's like, "No, I want to be defamed." And then I'll be like,
Yeah.
"All right, I'll tell his real name."
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Drop his name, drop his number,
Yeah.
drop his email, everything.
We'll
and
do
let's
it. Yeah,
see
his
what
social security
happens.
number.
Yeah.
I'll get it. I'll get it from him.
Yeah. Mother's maiden name, that kind of shit.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah. Passwords.
All right, so 50K. 50K is a fun one. So, for those that don't know, because I'm new on the podcast and I'm new in town, I'm a big time fitness guy in the endurance realm. I really like endurance sports. I like the place that it takes me mentally. It takes me to kind of that breaking point of like the human psyche, in the sense of like, I've been going for so long, how much longer can I go? And you get to this really interesting point of having like an internal dialogue that's heavily questioning on like your own abilities, but also is like trying to motivate you. So anyways, it's
You're a runner.
I'm a runner and
Okay.
a cyclist.
Okay.
So yeah, whether it's like long distance backpacking trips, going out for 60, 70 mile backpacking trips over a couple days, 100-mile bike rides, 50K obviously,
That sounds terrible.
50 kilometers.
Yeah. Yeah.
This
Look at
story.
me, Larry. We're like, we can't relate.
Well, and for me, for a long time, that was me too. I mean, all through high school sports, I was a multi-sport athlete all through high school. I fucking hated running. Running was the
Yeah.
bane of my existence. I'd do anything other than that. I'd fucking hit people. I'd do sprints.
Yeah.
I would do weightlifting. I'd do whatever, but don't make me run, especially for a long time. But for some reason, in my 20s, I really found a love for it, and I think I found it on the trails in particular. I found that road running, I had ran marathons and half marathons and things through my 20s as I was starting to get out of the years of my drug addiction and kind of like lost self early 20s, and started finding a
You want to be
place.
healthy.
Yeah, I started finding a place in fitness, after I slowly started to wean out, certain drugs or addictions in my life. And running still really wasn't one of those things. I was kind of faking being a runner. Like, I still hated it, but I knew it was like healthy for me, so I
Yeah.
was doing it.
Yeah.
But I was running on the road. And there was one day I was out on a hike, and it was like this downhill section, and it was like one of those steep downhills where it was almost too steep to walk. Like, you had to get a little pace to you. You had to jog. And anyways, I ended up jogging down this hill, and I had so much fun running on this trail. Like, I found a kind of freedom in it. And so once I got down to the hill and I hit the flat, I kept running.
And
I was
that
like-
just kept on
and
running.
and I kept on running. It was Forrest Gump moment, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Fucking
Oh, well,
A, man.
I was
Life,
running.
life is like a box of chocolates,
Yeah,
man.
yeah,
And sometimes those chocolate makes you run.
Yeah.
But so anyways, found a love for trail running, and that was kind of my way to like rekindle a relationship with running. So I started training more and more, running some half marathons, running some 25K trail runs, which for people not in Europe is 16 miles, 16.1 miles.
Ooh, that's far.
So a 50K is 32.2 miles.
A marathon.
It's an ultra marathon. Because a marathon is 26.2, 26.3, something like that.
Okay.
So anything, once you get over that 26-mile distance of the marathon becomes an ultra.
Oh, my God.
And so, 50K was my first ultra. And this was in, oh God, I think it was 2018. It was the Tar Springs Ranch Ultramarathon in Wasna, California, which is the next like kind of town from where I lived in Arroyo Grande, California when I was a kid. And the Tar Springs Ranch Ultra was, I mean, it was awesome. It was the first one that they had ever held there at Wasna Ranch. And over the 32 miles, it was a 16-mile loop, essentially. So from the starting point, we're running 16 miles out through the hills on this cattle ranch to the start line again, turning around and then running that 16 miles back. So I was really excited. I mean, I had spent a couple years training myself up to this distance, doing different trail races that were, you know, like I said, 25Ks, half marathon distances, really getting a feel for my body and how it reacted on the trail. And so this being my first ultra, which, you know, having come from a shorter distance running background and an even further background of absolutely hating running, was like, it was huge, man. This was like my Super Bowl, right? I was like, fuck, man.
I'm going to shine.
This is huge, right?
Yeah.
Like, cause I'm gonna be running for like anywhere from 6 to 10 hours, depending on how
long
I do.
it is.
It's long. I mean, elite runners do it a lot faster than I do, but I run like a fucking tank.
No, I'm impressed.
I'm
like,
short.
I'm
short,
talking
and
like
I'm
maybe
stout.
a few days. What?
I mean,
That's good.
shit. I mean, the elite runners, fuck, they're running 100-mile races in less than 24 hours, and so for me, you know, I was just happy to finish the damn thing. I didn't care how long it took me.
If you kidnapped me and threw me that far out in the middle of nowhere, I would just accept death. Or I'd walk home. Okay.
Give me the bear.
Yeah.
Give the bear. I'm dying.
You know, my little internal voice you just talked about was like, you know what? We both know you're going to die.
We're not going to make it. Yeah.
Why die and
This is
sweat?
how you die.
Yeah.
This is also a cool way to die.
Yeah.
If you're not a pussy to by a bear, but yeah, good for you.
Oh, yeah. So the race, I was really excited. Like I said, I was leading up to the race, very excited. This is, like I said, my Super Bowl. You know, this is my moment to shine. Mm-hmm. I'm coming into my prime, right, as it is. So, anyways, geared up for this race. We started the race at around 5 a.m. So before the sun rises, being on the California coastline, Wasna and Arroyo Grande are a little bit inland from the coast, out towards like Lopez Lake. So we were, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 miles inland from the beach, but that particular area of California still gets pretty heavy socked in with fog. And so starting the race was really cool. It had like this like somber, almost like eerie feeling with like a low-lying fog in the early blue light of the morning. And we're gearing up for this race. You know, I've got my typical butterflies. I'm kind of shitting my pants on the inside, like, fuck, dude, I'm about to do this. This is a long way, like, but I'm excited, right? And so it's those excited, nervous butterflies.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't have to fake one because I had a real one.
Oh, no.
Which is where this story goes.
Oh, no.
So the race starts, and it was great, man. We're running through the fog. I'm feeling good. Usually I start my races pretty slow. I'm kind of I'm not a sprinter, right? I'm not a fast guy. I'm not tall, lean, lanky.
Right.
So my runs usually start out pretty slow. I kind of warm up around mile 5, and then I break through my wall, and I'm like, let's fucking go. I'm in it.
Wow.
So I get through the first 5 miles. This particular race had a lot of vertical climbing. Excuse me. I think it was about 8,000 feet of vertical climbing over the 32 miles. And the first, 5 miles was all vertical because we're getting up to this ridge line on the hills out there in the Wasna Valley, and then we're running the ridge line for a handful of miles until we get to the turnaround point.
Oh, my God.
So,
right?
Yeah, brutal. Yeah, and it is, I mean, don't get me wrong, it is brutal, but I think you find solace because you're out in nature and you're not like, when you're road running, right, you're running past buildings and you're like, oh, there's another building. Oh, there's a fucking bank. Oh, there's like one tree in downtown. How fucking cool, right? It's boring. But when you're out in nature, it's like you're running, there's animals around, there's nature stuff going on. You're looking at the trees and the landscape and the sunrise. Like, there's fun stuff to distract you.
I love your perspective,
you
but
have
it
to.
just sounds so hard.
Yeah,
well,
that sounds crazy.
It does come with the training.
Yeah,
because I didn't just
Look at
wake
you.
up and do it.
It's very insightful.
But as I was running, I got up to the top of the first peak and started running the ridge line, and it started raining, which was fine. I mean, I don't mind running in the rain. It got a little muddy out there because we're on cow trails, and so cow pie's fucking everywhere. It's all beat up from the hoofs and the weight and stuff, and so it ended up becoming quite sloppy and absolutely disgusting. You're running around with like 5 pounds of mud caked to your shoes and shit, which, it sucks carrying the extra weight, but it is still kind of fun. You're like a kid splashing in puddles. You have a little bit of like a childlike, playful mindset about it. And so I end up, keep running the race. I'm hitting all the aid stations and stuff on the way into the turnaround point. And when I got about 4 miles from the turnaround point, it's a complete downhill from mile 11, mile 12, all the way down to mile 16, which is the turnaround point, is like 3-4 straight miles of downhill. And so at this point now, it's been raining for a couple hours while I'm running, and it's really fucking sloppy, muddy out, and we're essentially sprinting downhill, some pretty steep inclines. And as I get about halfway down that 4 mile stretch, I hit a mud patch, my leg slides out, tweak my knee. Shit absolutely turns damn near all the way around. A little bit of a popping in there. I'm like, that's probably not good.
Yeah.
So I'm laying there for a second. People are running by. They're like, "Oh, you good?" I'm like, "Yeah, man, I'm good. Just keep going. Like, just fucking got to work this out." I end up standing up, take a step, and I'm like, "Oh, fuck." Absolutely excruciating. Right on the inside of my knee where the
meniscus.
I was going to say, meniscus, I think.
Yeah.
I'm not a fucking doctor.
Yeah.
I know there's the MCL, the ACL, and the meniscus. It's one of those three.
You said inside knee. That's what I understood.
Yeah.
So I don't,
Inside knee.
Yeah.
Hurt like a motherfucker. Yeah. And, I took a step and I was like, oh, damn, that's rough. And so I was like, well, I gotta at least get down to the turnaround point because that's where my vehicle is. That's where the medical is. I can stop there if I need to.
So you're 4 miles away?
At this point, no, I was halfway through that 4 mile downhill.
Oh, good.
So I had about 2 miles. It's still 2 miles, right? I'm on a bum knee.
Yeah.
So I'm like, fuck it. Like, I got to get through it. So I'm hobbling my way down, kind of like half-ass jogging my way into the turnaround point. Get down there. Medical comes to see me because I'm visibly limping as I come into the turnaround. And I'm like, no, like, I'm fine. I think I just need to sit down. I'm going to have some water, a couple snacks. I'll be fine. So I sit down. I kind of refuel myself. It's a big thing with endurance racing, especially. Refueling is incredibly important. You're burning at this, during a whole race like that, you're burning tens of thousands of calories. So you're eating fucking junk the whole time. And so I get down to the turnaround point and I'm stuffing my face with like brownies, Rice Krispie treats.
Really?
Oh yeah. So it's funny, coming from the world of like half marathon and marathon, like road racing, when you hit aid stations, like there's cups of water, there's cups of like electrolyte drinks, like Gatorade or whatever.
Yeah.
You've got like orange slices, like half of a banana, maybe like a quarter of like a cream cheese bagel, like to get some carbs, and that's it. Like pretty healthy stuff, right? First endurance race I did, being this one that's like an ultra, I was shocked when I got to the aid stations because it's like fucking junk food. And I asked one of the guys who was a pretty experienced older ultra marathon runner. I was like, why are all the aid stations like junk? I was like, there's quesadillas here. There's fucking bowls of M&Ms.
Okay, I'm in. I'll do it.
Yeah, no, seriously.
There's lines of cocaine.
Yeah, there's...
Oh, shit, this is amazing.
I'm serious. There was brownies, Rice Krispies. Absolute fucking junk food.
Mountain Dew.
Yeah, and instead of cups of like electrolyte drinks, there was cups of like Coca-Cola, and I was like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Right, and the guy was like, dude, you're burning so many calories because you're running for so many hours on end. He was like, any kind of healthy food, solid food, he was like, it takes too long to digest. You're not going to get the energy and the nutrition you need from it fast enough. He's like, so the only thing that will give you a boost fast enough is sugar and complex carbs.
Oh.
Or, is it simple or complex carbohydrates? Yeah. One of those two. Once again, I'm not a doctor.
Yeah.
Whatever fucking candy is made of is the shit that breaks down super fast and will just keep you going, right?
Okay.
And a lot of the healthier foods, right, if you were eating bananas and oranges only, they're not very heavy in calories. They're not very heavy in carbohydrates. They don't have enough sugar to keep you going. And so the only thing that's going to give you the calories, carbs, and sugar necessary is literally junk. Wow. And I was like, this is crazy. I love it.
Did not know that.
Yeah, I was like, I love it. I never figured I'd be eating nothing but sugars and sweets and drinking soda and out here running for 9 hours. Like, fuck yeah, right?
It didn't mess with your stomach?
That is a big issue, especially with endurance racing. You have to kind of figure out what nutrition works for you. Like some people can't eat solids when they're running, and so they rely simply on like gels or like energy, like packets, almost like an applesauce kind of thing. It's like very gooey. And then there's other people that can't do the goo, and that fucks their stomach up, and they have to eat solid foods. Guys that are running, eating a fucking quesadilla, like. Right. So you through training and working with your nutrition in your training. Yeah, no, I'm serious, dude. I've seen some crazy. I've seen people running on the trail eating burgers, like because they have to.
Damn, maybe we should take it up.
You
I
should.
think I'm shit. I want to work the aid station. That's what I want to do. That's all I want to do, man. That's a quesadilla for you, quesadilla for Papa.
That's right.
That's
one for you, one for me.
That's a Burger King for that dude.
Yep.
That's a Burger King for this dude. You know. Get
It's
running.
so true. It's so true, man. And like I said, it was mind blowing. So I make it to this turnaround point, and I get down to my truck, and I'm sitting there, and I mean, my knee at this point is absolutely fucking blasted, and I know it, right? And so I'm sitting there eating a snack, I'm having a drink, and I'm like, fuck. At the time, I was dating this girl who was, you know, pretty supportive of my fitness endeavors, and I was like, you know what? I was like, I should reach out to her and just tell her, like, hey, I'm thinking about quitting. Like, it fucking hurts. Yeah. So anyways, I text her, and being that we're out in Wasna Valley, which is a pretty remote area out here by the lake, I was like, I don't really have the best service, so, like, she might not answer, but, like, she'll find out that I quit when I get home. Sure. Totally fine. So I text her, and I'm like, hey, like, fuck my knee up, thinking about quitting, you know, couldn't do it, man. I tried. And text comes back through, and she was like, you thinking about quitting? She was like, why would you do that? And I was like, I fucked my knee up. What do you mean, why am I thinking about doing that? She's like, you're not a quitter. And I was like,
damn it.
Fuck. And, you know, at that moment, I'm like, you're right, I'm not a quitter. I was like, this sucks. I was kind of hoping for the easy way out, right? Like, even being a tough guy, you know, or somebody with a lot of pride in themselves, like, hoping for the easy way out. Like, I was hoping she'd be like, oh, poor baby, like, totally fine. Come home, we'll cuddle. And I'm like, yeah, let's do that, right?
Yeah.
And she just called me out, and she was like, you're not a bitch. Fucking finish it. And
Don't be a pussy. Bring mama home a Snickers.
That's right.
No LOL.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
you broke up with her.
Well, eventually, but not because of that. At that moment, I was like, well, shit, now I can't quit, right? Like, I'm not going to be the bitch that walks home and is like, with his tail between his legs. Yeah. I got enough pride in myself and enough, you know, belief in my physical ability. I'm going to finish this thing out, see it through. So I fucking stand up, and I mean, like I said, knees absolutely blasted. And I'm like, well, we have 16 miles, and I've got a 4-mile uphill to start my return. So I started, and I ended up walking, so to like hurry up and finish this story, from that turnaround point, it's 16 miles back to the finish line. And the pace that I was running at originally, I was due to finish the 32-mile race in about 5.5 hours, close to 6. And because of the bum knee, I ended up walking 16 miles all the way to the finish line, finishing at about 9.5 hours. So I was in like the last 10% of the race, right? You know, because obviously everybody else is still running, and I'm hobbling at best. And progressively over the race, the knee was just worse and worse and worse. And at the very end, hobbled my way across the finish line with the rest of the fucking tubbies that were bringing up the back of the pack. Yeah. And it was a really beautiful moment. Like, hindsight being 20/20, I should have never done it because I actually jacked my knee up pretty good.
That's what I was wondering.
And I ended up not doing any races for about 2 years after because of how fucked my knee was. But my pride let me, you know, finish. And the moment I crossed the line, I just completely collapsed. I mean, face down on the ground, just laying there on the finish line like, well, I'm done now, right? And so the EMS guys come running over, and they're like, hey, like, what's going on? Are you all right? And I was like, just bring me my fucking medal. And so they bring me my medal. They brought me my medal and my finisher's T-shirt, and they laid it next to me on the ground. And I laid there for about 5 minutes, got up, and then I got my token for my my congratulatory free beer and tacos at the finish line.
That's
and
it.
So, yeah.
And a doctor bill for a complete knee replacement.
I did not have to have that, luckily. Nothing tore in there. It was just pretty inflamed and severely.
So you didn't need anything? Like, that's all it was? It was just angry?
Yeah, it was very angry. Yeah, the way I had twisted it, it was just like something had like rolled over itself and was incredibly inflamed. Like, I hadn't actually separated any of the tendon. But it was, I mean, I could barely put weight on it. And especially after that race. I mean, hobbling on it for 16 miles already hurt. It was fucked up. I mean, I was on crutches, I think, for about 2 weeks after, just for, like, personal health care.
Right.
Wore a knee brace for probably 6 months on and off, you know, whenever I felt like I needed support. And even to this day, I mean, there's still some days where it's like...
Randolph, how old are you right now?
30.
I gotta be honest with you, Randolph. That's gonna come back to haunt. If that's a true story,
it's
gonna come back to haunt you hardcore, man.
Dude, I already am haunted.
Right.
I mean, I was a skateboarder.
True.
I was a skateboarder for probably 18 years of my life.
Yeah,
I used to coach parkour and gymnastics, so I mean, I'm taking impact on cement. I mean,
Yeah.
my shit's
You're gonna
blasted.
know when the weather's changing.
Oh, I already feel it. Oh no, I already feel it. If it's cold out and it's about to rain,
But hey, 30-year-old, it's gonna get a lot worse. Man. It's gonna get, dude. It's tough. I fell through a roof one time helping my buddy roof his. Do his roof, and it had rained, so they put tarps all over the roof. Well, there was a hole I didn't see. I stepped on it. This right knee caught my weight. Right now, I'm 28 when this happens. It hurts for 2 months, and gets over. 3-4 years ago, man, just out of the blue, this thing starts hurting, dude. Starts just like I can't walk on it. I don't know what I've done to it. I go to the doctor. He's like, "You have osteoarthritis." I'm like, "That's for old people." He's like, "Yeah, it is." Congratulations.
No, I already know it's coming.
Yeah.
I know the knee replacements are coming because I
bud.
know that whatever cushion is in there in terms of like the cartilage or whatever that's in between the bones themselves, it's blown.
Yeah, you're done.
My cushion's gone. Man.
Did you fuck it up more by finishing the race? Like, would it have not have
I
been?
had to have.
I would agree.
I had to have. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, that was a lot. I mean, there was so many hours of punishment that like didn't need to happen. But I got the medal.
Yeah.
But I got the
don't
medal,
know.
and it hangs on my wall to this day.
You know me, I'd be like, I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
I'm
You know,
good.
I mean, had that ex-girlfriend not fucking texted me and been like,
That bitch.
"You're not a quitter."
Yes, I am.
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
I'm coming
When
home.
my knee hurts.
We're gonna go get some margaritas, and you're gonna shut the fuck up.
Speaking of margaritas,
Or I'm gonna quit you, hooker. All right.
Yeah.
We need to. All right.
Okay.
Let's move this along. So
let's move this along.
Yeah.
Okay.
we're coming up on an hour right now. So that's cool.
Give me your cup.
Mr. Freeze.
I feel like it's gonna have a cop there. I don't know.
That
Or-
one time I got shot in my ass.
Yeah.
Or Randolph here is a fucking Batman villain. I don't know.
There is also that. Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Salud,
So Mr. Freeze.
To Mr. Freeze.
To getting old with your knees.
I don't want to talk about it. All right.
Ooh. Ooh.
Carl's back.
Again?
It is a Carl story again. So Carl and I this time, the hiking destination this time was Rockfront Ranch, which for those in California, it's off of the 166 highway between Santa Maria and New Cuyama. Rockfront Ranch is a beautiful horse ranch out there off Highway 166 that hosts an OHV area, so you can go out there with quads, dirt bikes, rip around in the mountains, totally fair game. So we were going for a hiking trip out there, and at this point in our life, I was probably, 24,
Right.
so still young and dumb, thinking I'm tough as shit. I've been watching a bunch of Survivor and Bear Grylls, and so I was like, me and Carl, we're fucking nature, man. We're born for nature, right?
Sure.
We can do this. So we decided we were going to go out with minimal gear for an overnight trip, and we were going to handcraft our own shelter out there in the high desert, and we were going to sleep in our handcrafted shelter with no sleeping bags, no fucking pads, no pillows. Like I said, minimal gear,
Right.
A little tiny backpack. And I thought it was going to go well. I mean, me and Carl are we're badass.
What could go wrong?
Yeah, we're 24. We're definitely as accomplished as those 45-year-old fucking survival experts on TV.
Of course you are.
We've got it, right?
Yeah,
I've got a pocket knife. I can make a shelter.
Sure.
So Carl and I go out there, and we're hiking around, and we're looking for our prime spot where we're going to make our shelter for the night. And we ended up finding it, and we started making the game plan, right? Like, we're delegating the duties, like we're on a survival island, right? And we're like,
Right.
Okay, who's going to get the sticks? Who's going to get the bigger sticks? And who's going to get the stuff for the fire? And we got to build a stone ring for the fire, and we got to get
Drink by Pete, Carl.
yeah, right. And so we're out there collecting grass and leaves and stuff to put a roof on our shelter. And so anyways, we from 1 in the afternoon to
terrible.
5:30 or 6 at night, just before sunset, we're crafting this entire shelter. And it
You didn't
actually
take a tent.
no, nothing.
No, they want to live. They want to live like pygmies. That's,
It was full
Yeah.
It was like full survival mode. We wanted to completely do it just fucking raw dogging nature, right? And so we make this shelter, and I'm not gonna lie, it actually looked really fucking good. It was a lean-to shelter, and for those that don't know, it's literally just 2 posts on the corners with an angled roof that you kind of sleep under. So it's like a half a tent, like a half a teepee, right? And it looked fucking bitchin'. I mean, we had I had some rope with me, and so we had fashioned lashing and stuff to wrap around the corners and make it all secure so the wind wouldn't blow it down. And there was a proper roof on it with sticks and leaves and grass in different layers so that rain wouldn't come through.
right.
Well, despite the looks of the shelter, we forgot a pretty integral part.
Food.
A floor.
Oh.
And for those that have been in the high desert of California during the winter, even though we don't get a lot of rain, we do get moisture. We get a lot of fog, which builds moisture very slowly into the ground. And the high desert in California gets very cold during the winter. I mean, it'll easily drop into the 20s.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, the high desert in California is some of the only areas other than like the high Sierras that get snow. And so we forgot a floor. And in an area that doesn't rain, a floor keeping you off of the wet ground is a lot more important than a fucking roof that'll protect you from rain.
Sure.
So anyways, we built this beautiful shelter, forgot the floor, which at the moment we didn't realize. We built a fire, and we're sitting there, and we're so proud of ourselves. We got our little military MREs out eating our dinner, and we're sitting there by the fire. We're like, fucking high-fiving and knuckle-bumping, and we're like, yeah, we're hardcore. We built our fucking shelter. And it's getting late now. We've had a little bit of whiskey, and we're like, all right, let's go sleep in our nicely crafted shelter. So we sat down at about 10 o'clock, and as we're sleeping there, I noticed that I'm starting to kind of move around at night, not feeling that good. I'm like, I'm getting kind of cold. And then 2 o'clock hits, and I look at my watch, which is how I knew it was 2, and I'm like, I'm really fucking cold. And I'm like, I wake up, and I'm like, I'm so cold that, like, my bones hurt. Like, I'm not just, like, cold.
Ouch.
Like, I'm not just shivering, like, oh, I could use another blanket.
Right.
I think I'm dying. Like, at this point,
Wow.
I'm like, I can't use my fingers. I can't feel my legs. Like, my bones actually ache. Like, at this point, I'm so cold that I'm not actually shivering. And I'm like, this is bad. Like,
This is hypothermia.
because the same survival shows that I've watched that taught me how to build a shelter are the same ones that told me what it is like to die from hypothermia.
Right.
And I'm like,
Right.
this is really
Shit.
bad. And so I wake up. I'm like, dude, Carl.
Oh,
Whoop.
Well, it's out there now. His name is
yeah, that's fine.
There you go.
I'll take out of it.
Yeah.
perfect. So at this point,
I'll take that out also.
yes. Yeah. I'll reset the story.
Okay.
So at this point, I wake up Carl and I'm like, dude, this is really bad. I think we're dying. This is not good. Like,
He's non-responsive.
no, he wakes up. But I don't know how he was still sleeping, but I was like, this is really bad for us. Like, we have nothing out here. We didn't bring anything with us. We're fucking idiots. We didn't even bring, like, a security blanket just in case we were, like, dying.
But you
right?
had whiskey on you.
We did have whiskey.
Okay, all right. Yeah.
So at this point, like I said, it's like 2:30 in the morning, and I'm like, we're definitely dying. We need to get this fire going now. And we had already burned all our wood. So now it's like 2:30 in the morning. It's dark, and I've got a little flashlight that I had with me, and I'm walking around trying to collect sticks with my numb hands and arms.
Right.
We get the sticks back to camp. We get the fire going again, which was incredibly difficult considering you can't feel anything. There's no tactile sensation, like trying to work a lighter or a flint and steel. Like,
I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
Yeah. You feel all palsy and stuff. Like, it doesn't work. So we get this fire going again, and we're slowly warming ourselves up, but it's still just absolutely excruciating. So we ended up spending from about 2:30 in the morning until like 5:30 a.m. when the sun rose, which was still freezing. Sleeping in like this half moon shape around this little stone fire we had, where like we were sleeping like hand to hand and foot to
Randolph,
foot.
it's called spooning. Just say
Yeah.
it. It's fine.
It's not spooning. It's not spooning.
It's called sleeping nut to butt. It's fine.
We were half mooning around the fire.
Okay.
Oh man. But yeah, we absolutely had to just get as close as we could to that fire. Damn near could have caught ourselves on fire with how close we were. And it ended up doing the trick. It warmed us up by the time 5:30 got around, and we could see a little bit of the sun. It was still freezing out, but like there was that hope of like on the horizon of like
Yeah,
we
I'm
made
not
it till
dying.
we made it
Right.
till morning, right?
Yeah.
Like
Right.
once the sun's up, we're gonna be fine. And we got our blood pumping and started packing up our camp and hiked out, and everything ended up being okay. But it was definitely like one of the scarier moments of my life where I was like, this is not good.
Nice.
Like we're at a moment right now.
I can tell you this right now. Whenever I edit these, I always try and figure out what the title of this is going to be. And it's always something that's Raw Doggy Nature is going to be the title of this already. I've already picked
Please.
it up. Yeah.
I really hope it's
That
that.
made
Yeah.
me laugh. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
I
good.
really hope.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What do you think about that one, Dencia?
I'm actually struggling here.
I think I have one in mind.
Do you?
I do a little bit.
Why don't you just go first then?
No,
Because
no,
I'm
we're-
actually
no.
struggling.
We're gonna
I don't know.
pump it, Densia. You know how it goes.
Are we pumping it?
Yeah, we're here in a minute.
I was
So
wondering when the pump.
Yeah.
he asked what the 3 pumper, 4 pumper
know.
thing is.
This is the first time I've actually been a little bit
Stumped. You did very well,
stumped,
man.
yeah.
Very well.
You're a very good storyteller.
But before we
Like
go any
I was in it.
before we go any farther, sorry, Dance, we're going to take a quick moment to watch a video. So what we're going to do is we always highlight one of the vendors here at the Brush Emporium.
Okay,
I didn't say that. Shame on me. This new studio is because of the Brush Emporium here in downtown Brush, 210 Clayton Street. Please make sure you come down and check these guys out. They support small business. And if you don't support small business, it goes away. You should always do that. And it's all local vendors here. It's local craftsmen. It's local artists. It's all that kind of good stuff down here. And they've been awesome about doing and supporting them. So please make sure you check out the Brush Emporium. And if you enjoy this podcast, support them because they support us. They've been super cool about me being down here. And look what they let me do
I love
down
it.
here.
I love
And
it.
just so you know, if you don't support small business, I don't support you.
Oh,
Yeah.
boom,
And
boom.
we don't like you.
That's right.
Yeah.
And also, they're going to have ice cream here in the summer. It's coming.
Nice.
And
Love
the
it.
the pizzas here is pretty damn good.
It is good.
Have you had
I
tried it?
have
It's
had it. Yeah,
incredible.
we came one night.
Yeah.
My coworker was bragging about it, so we came down here and got it. And it was really
That
good.
chicken bacon, man.
Yeah.
And you can do like halves or like
Yeah.
they're really awesome about it.
And they have the breadsticks and the pretzels and stuff. I mean, it's awesome. And it's 4 people in town that one ex-mayor, one current mayor. I mean, and they're people that have always loved this town and want to make it better. So please,
Awesome.
please
good
support
stuff.
them. And I want to thank you so much. But here's the video. Come check this out real quick.
Hi, my name is Suri Guzman,
My name is Jose Guzman.
and we're the owners of Guzman Boots. We're located here at the Brush Emporium at 210 Clayton Street in Brush, Colorado. We have men, women, and some kid boots. They all come from León, Guanajuato. We also carry belt buckles, wallets, and phone cases as well. If you do need a special order, we can also special order any kind of boot in the size that you would like. You can also find us on Facebook under Guzman Boots if you have any questions. Also, you can send us a messenger or call the Brush Emporium or talk with the front office and they can let us know. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Having said that, once again, please support those people. And Dancia, now, Randolph, what we do to decide which one of us has to pick first is we rock, paper, scissors. Now, you and I had this talk before she showed
Yes.
up because you asked what the 3-pumper avenue and the 4-pumper boulevard meant.
Yes,
So there's 3 pumpers and 4 pumpers on how you rock, paper, scissors. Randolph, what are you?
I'm a 3-pumper.
Thank you. So,
Only losers
Boom,
shoot.
boom, do.
It is.
Really?
It is now. Okay, now there are two. There are also there's 3 pumpers and 4 pumpers, but there's also 2 types of 3 pumpers. There's those that hit rock, paper, scissors, and then there's the Rochambeau crowd.
oh, yeah.
Which one are you?
Oh.
Rock, paper, scissors.
See, I'm a Rochambeau guy.
Rochambeau. I don't even. What does that even mean?
Rochambeau. No, I don't know.
Yeah.
Now, well, Rochambeau traditionally, I may be wrong here, but the way that I learned it is like rock, paper, scissors, but the loser gets kicked in the nuts.
Oh, yeah, let's do that and have Larry lose every time.
No.
Let's kick him in the nuts.
But either way, I am still, regardless of which way you say it, I am still a 3-pumper because
Damn it.
they're saying shoot at the end. It's just fucking.
Yeah,
why
I'm,
would you
I'm
do
with
that?
you. I'm
it's
with you.
stupid.
And if I got to
No.
kick her in her technical
it's-
nuts, it means I got to drive to Fort Morgan. Poor night guy to carry just going to
I
catch
mean,
one at the crotch.
Because why would you do the extra shoot? I mean, it's Rochambeau. Rock, paper, scissors.
I'll tell you
Like
though,
you're
this year
hitting it.
4 pumpers are kicking ass this year. So
Ha!
give me this
Get
one.
outta
So
here.
Ha!
yeah, it's
It
blasphemy.
doesn't make sense.
It does
Yes.
make no sense.
Why-
Thank you, Randolph.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Yeah,
Like,
thank
Yes.
you.
What? No.
Yes.
Because it's
that's
not
the way
called.
it
If
goes.
that's what it was, it'd be called rock,
Why
paper,
would-
scissors, shoot.
Exactly.
Oh,
Why is the
God.
game called rock, paper, scissors or Rochambeau and not Rochambeau, shoot? Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Yeah, because
No.
we got to think about it, guys.
We're doing 3 pumps there, champ. You ready?
Boom, boom, ba.
Ready?
Yes.
Okay, hold on.
The whiskey. You haven't even finished your glass. You didn't even finish the whiskey.
I know.
Are you ready?
Okay. Don't.
Do you want me to look at
Stop.
you? You don't want me to look at you.
No, you know what I'm going to do.
I think you should
Okay.
finish the shot first.
I agree.
It might help.
I don't think it will. Okay, ready?
Ooh,
Damn it.
Larry, let's
Damn
go.
it.
Yes, 3 pumpers
Damn
for the
it.
win, baby.
Damn it.
All right. We have 3 great stories.
We do.
Also, one thing, if you do like what you're seeing on the YouTube, on the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, there's a little red button. That's our subscribe button. Please hit that because it's a
It's a little click for you and a big click for
big
us.
click for us.
Look at
Support the podcast. We love
Yes.
it. And no matter what you're watching this or listening to it on, no matter what platform, please leave a rating and review. It does help the podcast. And you know what? Dance will high five you in public if you do it. So
And I'll
So-
say it since you didn't. They should
Yeah.
also subscribe, because why wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're getting this content for free.
Yeah.
And
Don't be a
technically,
bitch.
your fee
Yeah.
for watching this is a thumbs up and a subscribe button. So why would you not pay that fee
I
Boom.
love this guy.
for
Yes, exactly.
free content?
We'll see if I win first. All right. I hate that so much.
I hate that.
We got 3 great stories: 50K, Mr. Freeze, and Bare Necessities. Dempsey, what are you thinking?
Oh, the loser goes first.
Yes.
Okay. Here's my thoughts.
Okay.
I do believe bare necessities is true. I just feel it in my heart. I feel like it's true.
How fun.
Yeah, Mr. Freeze 50K. Huh. Okay, I feel like I am going with 50K.
Okay.
And here's why. Because I feel like you said something about it being half. There was like little pieces of
Yeah.
it. So I'm kind of thinking that maybe everything happened and you got to the half point and was like, no, fuck it.
I quit.
Maybe even
You think I quit,
yes,
right?
and
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
even
Oh,
text the
that's a good
girlfriend
one.
and she said that and you were shut the hell up. You don't feel
Yeah.
my pain. I'm out.
Yeah. I'm out of the
Hold on.
relationship and the race.
Yeah.
Yeah, hold on. So
Kiss off.
I like
so
it.
I'm feeling 50K.
you think
That's,
50K?
that's a good guess. I'm
Question mark?
feeling it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I too think Bare Necessities is true. So it probably is the one, right? Because we both.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
both fucked up.
He's probably a super liar.
Yeah.
I think
Oh,
Bare Necessities is true, though. I think it's one of those. So on this podcast, a lot of times, when some of the most outrageous stories are the true ones.
Of course.
You
Yeah.
know, and those are the
'Cause why
ones-
wouldn't they
They're
be?
traps. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
you're like, there's no way that happened. I think Bare Necessities.
I didn't even tell my alien story.
Yes, exactly.
We can get there soon. I think 50K is also a true story. I'm going to disagree with you on that one. Although it's kind of drawn out at a point in time, I think. So he's adding a lot of detail to try and fool me.
So was the other one.
Yeah,
it had
that's
a lot
true.
of details.
That's true. But for some reason, Mr. Freeze was more short and sweet for me.
Ah,
You know, I think that.
that's a good insight.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a big guy on detail, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If
That's a good insight.
If people come on this podcast and they do a true story that's got a lot of detail, you're going to snag me almost every time. So I'm going to go Mr. Freeze. Mrs. Dempsey is going to go Bare Necessities? Or what? 50K.
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 Let's
I'm
check out your board, man.
legit-
Let's check out your
I don't
board.
know. I don't feel super great.
Bare Necessities are you? Oh, shit. I knew it. Oh, my God.
You both are wrong.
No,
Yeah.
What's not true about that?
I am legit.
Yeah, so both 50K and Mr. Freeze
Carl's-
are
What?
100% true. And
Carl's
and,
dead. The bear ate him.
And
That's
I
for sure.
and I
Yes.
did draw them out because I want, and made one short and drew one out so that I could potentially fool you guys. But 100% true on the other two. Bare Necessities is false in the fact that the bear did not charge Carl and I. The bear did not make any aggression, and Carl and I did never backed up.
Right.
Like I said, black bears and brown bears are very docile. They're like dogs out
Right.
in nature.
You're a
And
dog.
so-
I totally. Yeah.
And so the
Yeah.
bear
Damn
did,
it.
however, the bear did break down that tree in the creek bed. It did have that loud crashing sound. Carl and I did freeze out of fear, not knowing what it was. We did freeze when the bear came up on the trail. The bear did look at us, but then he just walked away.
That's it.
He just walked
You
away.
did a great job.
he
at,
never
like,
charged
not
us.
being too much.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm going to
Never
say maybe
charged.
the bears saw them spooning that night and didn't want to be part of a hate crime. That's what I'm going to say, bro. That's what I'm going to
That's
say.
but I am shook.
Yeah.
No.
You got us both. When was the
Yeah.
last time that happened?
Sadly, it happens quite a bit. But I'll tell you what's impressive is for us both to pick a different story and the third one be the true one. That's
Yeah.
tough. Usually it's because we
Yeah.
gang up on you.
Yeah.
And we were both like, no, bare necessities. Good job.
Yeah.
I am. Wow.
That's fantastic.
was
Yeah.
I'm going to blame it on whatever was in that bourbon. That's,
I
gotta be honest,
agree.
it
Some
was-
weird truth serum.
That's,
Oh, man.
That's so
Wow.
insane. Real quick before you go, this is a little long, so we're going to wrap it up here pretty quick.
Yeah,
but
no worries.
where do they find you? Online.
Where do they find me?
Yep, online.
Oh, okay. I get a plug. Cool. So Instagram, I have two Instagrams. I have a personal, which showcases some of my artwork and a lot of my outdoor adventures. I also have a art-only Instagram. Art-only Instagram is Box of Monsters Art. So that's Box of Monsters Art. And then my personal is The Crummy Adventures. And Crummy is Krumy. And then Facebook, same thing. Randolph Torres, Box of Monsters Art. Website is boxmonstersart.com. It's pretty much all branded the same way. So
And Americana Tattoo is where?
Americana Tattoo is on Main Street in Fort Morgan. We are 201 Main Street. So I do custom tattoos there by day and paint by night in my bat cave.
So you work a certain schedule, right? What's the best day to find you there?
You can find me anytime, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just go in.
I'm off Tuesday, Wednesdays, but if you get me on email, Instagram, Facebook, I'll come in any day.
Cool.
I love doing the work.
And we'll put your email down in the description below.
Sounds good.
So you can actually find Randolph.
Yep.
I keep wanting to call you Rudolph. That was my grandfather's name.
You can do that. That's fine.
No, it was. That's
No.
why I Randolph was a great name. Real quick, I have a question about tattooing. What's the craziest tattoo you ever done? What's one you're most proud of?
Most proud of or craziest? Because those are two different tattoos.
Yeah.
Do both.
Okay. Craziest one is I tattooed a unicorn by a gentleman's penis. That was a fun one. It was a tribute to his current girlfriend.
Was it actually on his penis?
It was next
the
to it.
Penis, the horn?
No.
Oh.
No.
Yeah.
It was an outline of a unicorn, like right on the upper fatty tissue area at the base of the penis. So that was an odd one. I was glad that he pre-shaved for me because I wasn't really keen on shaving that for him.
Do you have to shave sometimes?
I do have to shave sometimes. I've shaved a lot of grown men.
Wow.
It is part of the job.
Yeah.
Coolest tattoo. That's a tough one, man. I'll just go with one that was recent because, like, as an artist, I always find my most recent piece is probably my favorite.
Right.
I got to do an American traditional style tattoo. For those that don't know, it's just bold colors, bold lines, fucking old school style. But I did a dagger that comes across a gentleman's shoulder, cuts into the neck, and then the blade comes out the other side.
Cool.
So it has, a 3D effect, like it's cutting through the neck, and it's fucking hardcore.
Has there been one you just haven't done, you just refuse to do?
The only thing that I refuse to do is significant other names.
Really?
Yeah, it's a curse that I don't want to be a part of. So
Or you've never done one?
no, never will.
Wow.
It's the only thing that I won't do.
Interesting. So even if they're like, we've been married 20 years, you're like, nope.
No, I'll do. There's one that I'm considering currently that's a very special case that probably will be the only one I'll do. Is the pastor at my church? His wife and him have been together for a very long time. Very Christian man. I don't think they're separating, and he wants her name like around his finger.
Like a ring.
Yeah, and it's like, I might do that one. But we see a lot of guys that want to come in and they want to get, my girlfriend's name on my face, and it's like, no. Don't do that. Like she's gonna see it and leave you for the simple fact that you got it.
Right. That's weird.
Yeah. Like you're stupid enough to do that. Like I'm gonna leave you. Right.
Right.
And I'm not gonna. And you're gonna come back in 2 weeks and get it covered. Like I'm not gonna do it.
I love that.
Yeah.
I
that's
did
great.
not expect you to say that, and that's a great answer.
Yeah.
Most
fantastic.
people say genitals. Most people won't tattoo genitals, but I will definitely do that.
Do people do that?
However, I charge a handling fee.
Yeah.
I do.
Is that popular? I can't imagine that happens.
It's
a
not
lot.
that popular,
Okay.
no.
Ouch.
We gotta hurry up, but I do want to
Let's
tell you. Ink Masters, that show on TV, it's you hate it. Okay.
I do kind of hate it.
I've never had a tattoo in my life, but I can't stop watching that show.
And don't get me wrong, I do like the show. I just don't like the drama.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
The reason I liked it so much is I am just overwhelmed and shocked at how good some of these people are.
Oh yeah,
I
it's
mean,
incredible.
it is insane. Some of the tattoos that go on these people.
Yeah.
There was a guy, he was from Chicago. I mean, all tatted up, real rough looking fucker, like Mike or something. I can't. But that dude, I just couldn't stand not to watch his show to see what he would put on next. I mean, he was
What's going to
that good.
happen?
Yeah.
Dude, so good. I mean, I imagine being in the business, you hate it just because it's a
I just
mockery.
don't like the reality TV aspect
Right,
of it.
Yeah.
Having now worked for TV and seeing how fake
Yes.
it is, like
Yes.
like what I went through with filming, like see how fake everything is.
Right.
It's like you watch that show and you're like, oh, how much of this is scripted? Like
Right.
how
Right.
much of the arguments didn't actually happen? And
Sure.
like the network was like, I need you to yell at him, like
Right.
Yeah.
call him a bitch, and it's like,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
And-
that's fair. That's fair.
and it's like the tattooing community is very small. Like
Right.
even though there's tattoo artists in every town, all over the country, all over the world, it is still a really small community.
Sure.
Like we bump into each other, right?
Right.
And like the fact that they're pitting these artists against each other on TV
Right.
to like get into fights and bicker and say like, oh, you're a shit artist, fuck you.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's like, dude, no, we're all
Yeah.
a small community, and it's like, yeah, some people are better than others, but like at the end of the day, we all do the same job,
Like,
right?
no spread hate.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Right. It'd be
yeah.
like a teacher at a school going up to another teacher and being like, "Fuck your class.
Yeah.
Your class sucks."
Don't you guys hate that class?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And before we go, you can check out Randolph on HGTV on
Yes.
Sunday nights at 6.
Yes.
It's the hometown makeover. Fort Morgan was picked. What episodes did you say you were on? Do you remember?
I've been in episode 1 and 3 so far.
Right.
And there are 3 episodes left. It's a 6-episode season. So by the time this airs, who knows what episode will be out? But I could be in potentially any of the last 3 episodes. So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
It
awesome.
is
Good for you.
Randolph, thank you so much for coming on, man.
You honestly, this has been one of my favorite ones so far.
what a
Really?
blast.
Yeah, no, for real. You're a
was good.
great storyteller. I was totally like into everything you were saying.
Awesome.
Right.
So this has been a lot. I've never met you before, so this was
No,
our
this
first
is first.
meeting.
Yeah, this is first.
and I loved it. This was fun.
I mildly like you. I can't go that deep.
I have to shout out at the
Not to
end.
butt.
This is episode 117. Shout out to my Halo fans, Master Chief 117. Over and out.
And
I don't know what it means, but it feels
It
funny
doesn't
to me.
matter. The people that know will know.
having said that, I'm Moose Lundstrom.
And I'm Nancy Akudrin.
We'll catch you next time. Peace.
Bye.